Here today, and Mayor Stewart, good to see you. Welcome back. The city of New Britain is looking to the future these days with a new ball team and new businesses. So what's next for the city and what's next for its young mayor? Mayor Erin Stewart is with us here today. And Mayor Stewart, good to see you here on the program.
Thanks for having me.
So walk us through, because a lot of people are saying, and I've noticed it when I'm there, that New Britain is a much different place than it was when you were first elected.
Oh, sure. And I think the last time I was here was when I was first elected.
That's right.
So thanks for having me back. But it's been a long road. I mean, it's been about 3 years. I'm in my second term now, and we've made a ton of progress. I mean, there's a lot of things that have hit the news. I took over a city that was financially unstable. And when I came into office, we were looking at a $30 million operating deficit, very familiar to what we're seeing in Hartford these days. And what I was able to do was turn that into almost a $15 million surplus. So we've certainly had our work cut out for us over the last few years, and it's been extremely productive. I think people are looking at New Britain in a completely different way. We've also had some headlines lately too with the baseball team. There's no secret about that. You know, when the Rockcats announced they were leaving, we worked extremely hard to try to get another professional team in, and we were successful. I just threw out the first pitch at the New Britain Bees opening day just a couple weeks ago. But you know, it hasn't been all that easy. I've certainly learned a lot in the last 3 years, and I learn every day.
Was that the biggest setback in the last 3 years? The team leaving?
No, I think it was a big part of it, because it's a sense of pride for the community, a sense of pride for not just New Britain but for the region. I think the most difficult thing for me was dealing with the city's finances. You know, there's no doubt about it. When you're a city in Connecticut, your mill rates are extremely high, and trying to balance that with a community that your average, median household income is $40,000 a year, and you have to be able to balance. That's been the most difficult part. But in terms of what's been most catchy for the media, absolutely the baseball team, and that was difficult to navigate, to find somebody who wanted to take a chance on New Britain, and we found that with the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball. They're wonderful, and the New Britain Bees have a great home now.
When you were here 3 years ago, one of the big things you wanted to focus on was bringing new jobs to New Britain. How is that going?
Fantastic. In the last 3 years, I mean, we've brought tons and tons of companies to New Britain, small businesses, a lot of mom and pop shops that have been opening up. I mean, in the last year alone, we've seen 34 new businesses come to town that have been cutting those ribbons so much that I've had to get big new scissors because they were dull. But we've created over 600 new jobs. And in a community like New Britain, that's huge. 600 jobs that are well-paying full-time with health insurance, too.
You've been able to take sort of a bipartisan approach to running New Britain. When you were first elected, you were criticized by some of your fellow Republicans because you embraced the busway, which was a rallying cry for Republicans. They were all against it, but it was in your city, proposed by a Democratic governor, yet you embraced it.
Absolutely. I would be silly not to. I mean, you're looking at the average population in New Britain that doesn't have a car, or they rely on public transportation to get around. And to see New Britain become a hub of public transportation was an incredible opportunity for the city to make a name for itself for the entire region. The city of New Britain has had access to millions of dollars in transit-oriented development funds in the last few years because of the busway. We're seeing a multi-million-dollar streetscape project going on in our downtown right now. If you come visit us, we're all under construction, but for good reason. You know, these are all things that are making our city more amenable to folks who use public transportation on a daily basis to get to work, to do their shopping, to go to school, you name it.
You look at West Hartford Center and downtown Hartford, a lot of development going on. Downtown New Britain hasn't had it yet, but what is your vision for it?
We're getting there. We are slowly getting there. And it starts with, us investing in ourselves. People want to invest in cities that are investing in themselves. And that's why we're digging up our entire downtown. The streetscape is getting done. The roads are being reworked. I mean, we're really connecting our I call it our two downtowns, right? So we have Broad Street, Little Poland. Everybody knows Little Poland. But we have Main Street as well. And there's this big kind of intimidating bridge in the middle. So we're working on that streetscape project to really connect the two together, to make it a more pedestrian-friendly environment. That comes with all the stores and the restaurants and the eateries as well. And slowly but surely we're going to get there. We're seeing an influx of businesses. Broad Street now has over 100 small businesses on that street alone. So we're getting there.
What is your advice to other Republicans who want to be elected mayors of cities? Because traditionally the cities of our state go Democratic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if it's I guess it's a difficult question, if you will. There's no formula. There's really no formula. It's about caring about your community. I mean, I ran for mayor, no I mean, there's no secret. My father was mayor, but trust me, I didn't want to be mayor when he was at all. I didn't know I was going to end up in this world. I was a high school softball coach. You know, I ran for the Board of Education because that's what I felt passionately about. And the passion slowly grew from there. And I realized that I can make a really big difference in the community if I was a leader. And that's how you end up where you want to be, I guess.
We all turn to our parents for advice. I still do to this day.
Yeah.
Is there ever a day in your office at City Hall when you call your dad and say, hey, what should I do here?
Oh, sure. I mean, there's also the days where we fight like a father and daughter would. It's a very healthy relationship, I can tell you that much. But yeah, you know, when it really hits the fan and I'm down and out and I need some advice, he's definitely someone that I automatically turn to because he's been there, he's lived through it, you know, and history repeats itself, right? So you go through a lot of the same situations.
There aren't many Republican office holders in Connecticut in terms of the federal, well, there are none in the federal jobs.
No.
And in terms of the city halls, yet you are a Republican, elected mayor of a city. And so a lot of people look to you for the future.
Sure.
And so I need to ask you this because we've had people on this program who've suggested that you should run for governor in 2018.
I have heard that quite often myself, and I'm extremely flattered by it, you know? I mean, I feel great that people have the confidence in me and think that I'm capable of doing the job. Do I think I could? Absolutely. Am I there yet? I'm not sure. I still have another election in New Britain in 2017, you know, that I'll certainly be going for. My job's not done in New Britain yet. And whether I can bring those talents to this state remains to be seen, but I'm certainly not ruling it out.
Have you talked to other Republicans about running for governor in terms of their plans?
Oh, sure. I mean, look, good friends of mine, like Mayor Mark Boughton from Danbury, you know, I mean, he's definitely going to give it a go again. I mean, there's tons of other candidates as well. Tim Herbst from Trumbull has talked about it. You know, those are conversations that we're having now, and it's good to have those conversations amongst friends in the party. Would
Connecticut be in better shape with a Republican governor?
I think that with a Republican governor, certainly, but also the legislature has a lot to do with it as well. You know, you're looking at that. Oh, how many decades has it been that the legislature has been democratically controlled and we really haven't seen a lot of progress? Look at where we are today. I think there has to be a good balance of power.
What is the Republican-Democratic breakdown in New Britain?
7-1.
Democrat to Republican.
Yes, Democrat to Republican. You know, and I have Republican control of the council. We have a 15-member council in New Britain. We have 12 members out of 15 in all the constitutional offices are Republican as well.
You know, there are some mayors who have told me that they believe that Donald Trump will do fairly well in the cities this year. Yeah. Much better than most Republican candidates do. How do you think he'll do in New Britain?
You know, I think it's been a very interesting election season, presidential season to say the least. But what you're seeing is a lot of the Latino and a lot of Hispanic communities come out in support of a lot of Donald Trump's policies. I've seen that in New Britain. I've heard from our, Latino coalitions that are leaning towards supporting him. I've also heard from a lot of people that are saying they're not voting at all because they don't like either candidate. I think it remains to be seen. I think what both candidates have to talk about over the next few months. I think a lot of people are listening intently to whether or not their message changes and how that's going to resonate with a lot of urban voters remains to be seen.
Erin Stewart, the mayor of New Britain, best of luck, and we'll see you on the program again.
Thank you so much.
In just a moment, Clay Cope and our flashback with Lowell Weicker. Do you remember the mood in our state 25 years ago this month? And we welcome your comments. You can find them on any of my social media venues right here.